Good evening. Welcome to the Janea Netball Centre for the final round of the Opens Premier League. I'm Brittany Carter. You might have realised our setup looks slightly different tonight, and that's because you're in for a massive treat. Up on Court 3, we have the minor premiership battle about to play out between the Central Coast Heart and Eastwood Ride Hawks. 1v2, both locked on 22 points. These teams will finish in the top two and play again in the major semi-final next week. But they've got a wager to settle before they even think about that, with it all on the line for first place here tonight. Central Coast have set the benchmark all season, winning their games by large margins almost every week. And yet the Hawks have a slight upper hand, having beaten them in round 7 by 16 goals. You're about to get a little taste of what's to come in the 2018 Premier League finals. And if I haven't given you enough reasons to stick with us already on Bar TV tonight, just be aware that a New Zealand international will be gracing the court. Let's get to the teams as we look to kick this round 14 Opens Premier League match off. For the ERNA Hawks, coach Jen Wright has got Ali Miller in goal shooter with Giants super netball player Kira Austin goal attack, Georgia Marshall in wing attack, Tay Davies in centre, Laura McLaren in wing defence, Nick Stiles in goal defence, and Jess Grant in goalkeeper, the captain for the Hawks tonight. Now for Central Coast, you've just seen Maddie Taylor in goal shooter with the first point on the board. She'll be paired with Tasha Hawley in goal attack. Amy Wild, their captain, is in wing attack. Sophie Buckley in centre. Alicia Walsh, wing defence. Lauren Moore, goal defence. And Laura Roger rounds out the team in goalkeeper. Their coach, Amber Cross. So it's one apiece. So we see Wild come back to Walsh. Now Moore to Buckley. Top of the circle. Wild just waiting for the right moment. Finds Taylor over the top of her head. And the Heart will make it 2. Davies kicks off the Hawks centre. Quick work between Austin and Marshall. Sees Ali Miller under the post. Going 1-for-1. Buckley, long pass to Hawley. She finds her on the transverse line. Coming back. They use Walsh to reset. Nifty little tip from Austin, but she's been pulled up. Now, on the edge of the circle in the pocket, Wild feeds to Hawley. And from a long way out, she attempts the shot, but it's held ball. 3 seconds all up. And Jess Grant with the penalty for the Hawks. McLaren goes long. And a little tip from Hawley. Sees the Hawks with a throw-in on the sideline. Now it's interesting, in talking with Jen Wright, she's got Tay Davies in centre and Georgia Marshall for the Hawks in wing attack. Apparently that was something they trialled last week and they think it's going to be a go-to from now on. Marshall had previously started at centre for most of their games this year, as we see little Laura Roger with a tip, preventing the Hawks heading towards the post. Wild to Moore. There's a lot of yelling going on. Driving forward. Here comes Central Coast through the middle. Buckley forced backwards. It ends up with Austin. And the Hawks keen to make something of this opportunity. They swing the circle and Patience sees them find Austin within short distance. Easy enough to get in. 3-2, Hawks up by 1 with a centre coming their way. Great matchup between Moore and Austin. Roger just getting the better of Ali Miller at the moment with a little tussle. But the Hawks are up by 2. Wild, quick out for the centre pass. Finds Hawley. I think Buckley thought it was all hers. Over the top, Wild keeps it in play. It's a foot race for the ball, and in the air, the Hawks come up with it. Just Grant peeking around a player. Finds Davies. Now they're in the midcourt. Over the top, Davies on her own. Straight to Marshall. Easy. They find Austin. The ball is not good. Miller outside the circle now after chasing it, and she gives it to Lauren Moore. There's a lot of excitement surrounding this match and a few mistakes coming from it in this Opens round 14 clash on Bar TV. Roger and Moore go 1-2. They find the transverse and go laterally. Now Ward will come back. Looks like she's going to go to Buckley. Ops, not to. Oh, McLaren! She's come up with a steal. Eyes for the bounce. Little flick over the top. Styles to Austin. Now they've found Miller, who has just a little height advantage on Roger. And the Hawks, they're up by 3 goals. Davies straight to Austin. Marshall already looking to Miller. Quick work from the Hawks. And with a penalty just in front of the hoop, Miller finishes the job. So a good strong lead. The last time these two sides played, Central Coast was up at the first break by a small margin, and the Hawks came back in that second quarter with a change in goal shooter, bringing Ali Miller on. She remained there for the rest of the game and was the real difference for them, and they were able to keep in front the rest of the match. So it's vital that Central Coast come back here. They are in first position at the moment, but if they suffer a loss tonight, the Hawks, they'll take top position and the minor premiership while they're at it. Miller makes it 7. They're up by 5. This is a brilliant start. And they haven't even used their little secret weapon yet. I mentioned that they have a New Zealand international on the bench waiting in the wings tonight, as we see Roger and Walsh combining for a turnover. They have Maria Falau, a pretty nifty pickup. Quick work from the Hawks. Foot on the pedal. Hawley collecting the ball quickly. Oh, brilliant work from Buckley. Placement is perfect for Maddie Taylor. Takes the heart to 3. The margin still 5. Austin goes laterally. She finds Styles. Oh, ball in the air. Ends up with Roger. Davies collected in a collision as they were going for the ball hell for leather. Buckley finds Wilder in the goal third. And a step. You don't usually see that at this level. Pressure building. Central Coast have won many of their games this season by massive margins. I'm talking in the 70s. 79 has been their highest score so far. Quick work by the attack side for Central Coast. And we see Maddie Taylor pick up a crucial goal off a Hawks centre pass. Walsh draws a contact call. Oh, and she goes long. Great vision finding Hawley. The skipper Wild on the edge. Oh, it's inside now. So an offside call. Hawley goes back to Wild and they find Taylor. There's hands from Grant everywhere, but it does end up with the shooter. And here come the Heart. 3 goals difference now, 8-5. Austin over the top to Davies. And now she flicks it to Marshall in the pocket. Mix up in communication. And these mistakes are going to cost the Hawks their early lead. Wild looks to go to Maddie Taylor. They can score quickly, the Heart. And Taylor is their best shooter at the back. She's a massive target for them. Although they've gone to her too early on this occasion. And it results in Hawks turnover. Strong passing through the midcourt. They come back. Struggling to get into the goal third. Ali Miller provides them with an option at the back. And some patience here. Could see the Hawks kickstart their momentum. Austin popping to the top. She's a long way out. In front, though. Confident and swish. She's through. 9-6. 3 goals. 6 minutes 12 left to play in this first quarter. Marshall did well to keep the ball in play and in Hawks' possession. McLaren over the top. Little lob. She goes back and forward with Styles. And now Austin. Oh! Tried to give it to Davies, but Walsh had other ideas. There has been so much turnover in this first quarter, and the nerves, you'd have to say, are playing a part in that. Wild. Coming off her line. She finds Hawley. Now they're in the goal third. Buckley with a fake give and go. Draws a penalty, and now she has an easy feed to Hawley. Lovely goal. Walsh with the penalty. Finds Wild all on her own. Oh, and the pass is a wind-up, but the timing is not good. Brilliant work by McLaren to keep herself from going out of bounds. Nice balance. Ali Miller on the baseline. Won't miss. 10-7. It was less than 5 minutes to play in this first quarter. This is a massive game. Buckley, quick work with Hawley. Oh, brilliant. The fast play draws a defender, and Maddie Taylor's all on her own at the back. Just 2 goals in this. Walsh goes around the body of Austin, and she finds more. Oh, Hail Mary pass over the back line. Styles goes long to McLaren in the midcourt. Transverse line. Austin pops the ball over. Pocket. They find Ali Miller. And now through Davies. Austin has found a pretty good shot position to take a shot. She cops a little bit of a falcon off the rebounds. Trying to listen to what the umpire was saying. Our umpires on this court tonight. Bronwyn Adams, Chris Hall, and in reserve, Anton Stakilski. Oh, brilliant work by Moore. Read the play. The timing of these Central Coast defenders has been perfect so far. And they've really kept them in this match so early on, where the lead was starting to creep out to 4 or 5 goals. The pass isn't great, but Buckley hangs on to it, pulls it in. Wild, top of the circle. Oh, over 2 defenders. Finds Taylor. Such a target at the back. And the Heart keep it within 2 with a centre up their sleeve. Buckley to Hawley. She's stuck for an option. Tries to create one with Wild. Taylor not ready for the ball. Able to regather. Buckley, edge of the circle. And they've found Taylor. That's far too easy for Central Coast. And the Hawks defenders are going to have to try something new. Austin. Quick work here by their attacking team, and almost too quick. It pops out of the hands of Marshall. Roger to take the throw in. Walsh to Moore. Beautiful cut and drive by Buckley, but they find Walsh on the outside channel instead. It's found its way to Hawley in the goal third. And now Wild on the edge has a far too easy feed. They're going to keep doing that all night. Taylor can grab a ball over her head. Her arms are long. Hawley to Wild, the captain. Gives it to Buckley, and again, the exact same play. And for the first time in this match, the Heart take the lead. 12-11. They're up by 1. 1:47 on the clock. Davies. Sideways to Austin. Over the top now in the pocket. Waiting. They find Ali Miller with a split stance. She's in front mid-range. No goal. Hell ball. The pressure is mounting up this Hawks defence end. Roger stopped for an option, has a calm head, and she finds Walsh. Bullet pass, wild to Hawley. They come back to reset. Taylor's got 2 on her. They can't go to her yet. Hawley switches it. They swing the circle. Oh, and they find Jess Grant at the back. She's not in a yellow dress. McLaren to Austin. With a minute left. Miller sidesteps, puts the ball through. We're back level, 12 apiece. And this is a fitting way to see round 14 minor premiership. Clash here at Netball Central. Over the top. Oh! The ball pops over the baseline. Poor Taylor collides with the post. We've even got the milliseconds happening up on the court, so we know what's going on. 28 seconds, 27. Pressure mounting here. Can they find their shooters at the back? Miller times the push off the back beautifully, and with backspace and an easy goal, she's put them up by 1 with 13 seconds on the clock. Time held, 10 seconds now. Such a hotly contested game, and with that comes a lot of pressure. Right, at the first break, the Hawks are up by 1, 13-12. Pretty lucky considering Central Coast came back hard there. So back in round 7, I keep mentioning the Hawks won in their first matchup against Central Coast this year, but they did most of their damage in the second quarter. I mentioned Ali Miller came on and replaced Alicia Cairns in goal shooter, and she went on to shoot 39 out of 41 goals at 95%. So that was only 1 less goal than Maddie Taylor's 40. But Maddie Taylor was on the full 4 quarters of that match. So she was really impressive in that game. And if she can find some more space around the Central Coast defenders, she might be able to back up that performance against Central Coast here tonight. Don't you dare go anywhere. There's plenty of action coming up. We'll be back with the second quarter of round 14. Heading back out for the second quarter. The Hawks up by 1 goal, 13-12. And we've already seen a change. Marshall move into centre and Tay Davies back to wing attack. Everyone else as they are for the Hawks. And Central Coast, they remain completely unchanged from their starting 7. A little bit more composure starting this quarter, but no one driving forward. Here comes Buckley. Nifty little bounce to Moore. Backs her up, finds the pocket and wild straight to Hawley. Baseline shot, fairway out, but it makes it through. We're back level. Davies to Austin. Little bobble of the pass. Oh, they find Ellie Miller at the front. This time she had much better position. Walsh on the outside of a player has the edge. Quick work to Hawley. Wild. Tries to find Taylor at the back, but she's lucky she's got a penalty because the pass was not good. So a reset inside the circle now. Defense tight. Taylor gifted a little extra space towards the post, but Hawley's got it in the end and she finishes the job. 14 apiece, toing and froing this score. Davies straight out. Austin drawing a penalty, keeping Moore out of the circle. They'll need to go quick to get to Austin. Instead, they find Miller and she attempts a massive shot from a fairway out. With the help of Austin, is able to gather the rebound. And with the third attempt, gets it through. Sign of relief on her face. Buckley around the Hawks defender. Wild doing a lot of work here to set everything up. The ball teasing us then on the edge. Now Central Coast have got black armbands on tonight, and we're not sure what that's about, but we'd like to pay respect to whoever they've lost in the week that's just gone. Miller right under, won't miss that close. And the Hawks hit the front, 16-15. Walsh bounces to Wild. The ball's come free, and Taylor offloads to Hawley for a pretty nifty goal. Obstruction call. That's a coach killer straight off the centre pass. McLaren no-look pass goes back. Then they push forward. They find Miller over the top, who gathers a balance. Very similar styles of play trying to set up the shooter with Taylor and Miller at either ends. Oh, the pass is not good. Buckley looking at Hawley, but passing it over the back line. Long ball, McLaren finds Marshall in the centre. Quick work, Styles with her feet. Austin goes long to Miller. What composure from Kira Austin. A Super Netball giant all signed up for 2019. Oh, Miller, tippy toes on the edge. For such a tall player, she has great balance. Hawley stuck for an option, has to go back to Buckley. They go laterally. Walsh to Moore. Bouncing to Wild now. Still can't push into this goal third. They've made it up and over. Oh, Taylor. Beautiful hands. With the fingertips, pulls it in. And the Hawks have crept out to a little 2-goal lead. A tiny buffer that'll give them a little bit of leanway. Davies goes long to Miller, who's popped out the circle. Styles to Davies. Oh, Austin coming through. That's a tough call on Roger. She had space first. Davies an easy feed into Austin, who sidesteps the defence and makes it 20 for the Hawks. Give and go, Wild and Buckley. Stuck for an option. And with 3 seconds building, she's given the ball back to the Hawks. Davies sandwiched between two Central Coast. The ball's ended up with Tasha Hawley. I think she's as surprised as any of us. Step. An easy turnover. McLaren finds Marshall on the inside channel. Strong pass. Styles to Austin. They come back to Davies. Cutting back and forward. Miller able to offload the ball as she regathers her balance and finds a better position right next to the post. 21-17. Austin with front position and easily able to find Miller. Nice work, shooter to shooter. And the lead has crept up to 5 goals. Can the Heart fight back here? Jess Grant stifling Central Coast attempts, and a little tip from Buckley. Unfortunately, still gives the ball back to the Hawks. The passes are really letting the Hawks down. Buckley on her own, in space, Wild on the edge. Waist high, feed, Hawley, tries to offload to Taylor. Swinging the circle now, still can't get it to the shooters. Hawley has to come out, but she's found Taylor at the back, and the persistence has paid off for the Heart. Can they claw back 4 goals? Marshall to Austin. She finds Miller at the back. And she's drawn a contact call. A nice penalty under the post. Wild just calling for her troops to come forward and help out. Moore has to go back to Wild. They try to do the triangle and get around the defenders. In the end, they come through the middle, out to the pocket, and over the baseline. The connections are not clicking. Well, Amber Cross mentioned that the last time they played the Hawks, they went down by 16 goals, and even though it was a pretty solid match and they stuck with them for 30 minutes, they let them back in the third quarter with just a little bit of a lapse in concentration. And she said tonight their focus would be consistency, stringing together 4 really good quarters. But the biggest goal was just to enjoy tonight. Central Coast have never made the semis. And the fact that they're now in contention for a minor premiership and will go into the major semi next week is huge for that region of netball, the association and the players involved. But a win tonight would mean massive things for the Hawks too, considering they've never finished in the top 2 of a competition here in Premier League. Their highest finished 4th a year ago before they were knocked out of the preliminary finals. Central Coast able to back up a little mistake here and take them to 19, but the difference is 6. Brilliant. Little smile from Miller. She takes a wonderful goal. Swish. Everything's going right for the Hawks at the moment. Hawley, quick work to Wild. McLaren tries to steal it right out of her hands. Hawley inside. Goes the post herself. Misses. The ball comes off Nick Stiles' hands, and Central Coast will get another opportunity. Straight into Wild, who survives some contact from behind. Hawley a long way out. She's going to put it up again. Scrambling for the ball. Advantage taken. And Buckley wastes no time going to Taylor and heading back for the next centre. Davies, quick out for the centre pass. Now Marshall with the fake goes to Austin instead. Up and over, they pop the ball up. Davies able to collect it on the inner side of the circle. They have to reset at the transverse. And now baseline shot, long way out. Austin misses. Does not back up for the rebound. Oh, she's won it back. Marshall. There's a mess happening at both ends. A lot of panic. Beautiful goal from Ali Miller. The difference 7, 4 minutes left before half-time. More quick work with defenders swarming on her. She has to come back now, Walsh. Wild to Buckley. Up and over. Oh, Jess Grant, the captain, leading by example. Quick work from the Hawks. Oh. Rocket pass comes off Laura Roger and results in a Hawks throw-in. Call goes against Kira Austin. That's nice umpiring. Central Coast go long, straight up to the goal third, cutting out the mess. Wild on the edge, finds Hawley very easily. But what the Hawks defenders have been able to do is smother Maddie Taylor at the back for Central Coast. She is a massive target at the back, was the MVP alongside Maddie Hay in the 2017 season of Premier League. And there's a big reason she's the target. She's accurate, she's tall, she's always waiting under the post. And by smothering her tonight, they've done a pretty good job so far to rattle Central Coast. Although Hawley seems to be stepping up. She's taken a few long-range shots now. Davies to Austin, waiting for her to come through and find front position. Slow little goal. Taking all the time she needs. More to Wild. Inside goal third, Hawley goes laterally. Buckley looking to the shooter, but can't find Taylor yet. Oh, this time she's got it. Well done, Maddie Taylor, over her head. And through the hoop, 29-23. 2 minutes is all that's left before half time. Marshall regathers the ball. Oh, Miller, fantastic hands. And her ball skills have really done dividends for the Hawks tonight so far. Taylor comes back to Buckley. Hawley calling at the back, and it's a held ball. They tried to go back to the midcourt, just a fraction too late. And Grant also stuck for an option. She finds McLaren on the inside channel. Oh, it's come off Davies and ended up with Walsh. And now Central Coast have a chance to right the wrong they just made with the mistake. They come back to reset. Buckley to Wild, hoping their skipper can create something. And Taylor all alone, Post Malone at the back. 6 goals difference, a minute on the clock. How quickly can Central Coast come back here and shorten the gap? Another held call. If this is your first time to Premier League, you don't see many in a game, especially at this Opens level. Nice work from young Hawley to Taylor. 28 seconds. Buckley drawing a contact. Now has 2 Hawks players out of play. They find Taylor. She's just on the edge of the back line. And they've just brought themselves back within 4. 10 seconds left. Can they keep the Hawks from scoring? I don't think they can. Miller, too good. (31-26), 5 the difference at halftime. I mentioned that Central Coast have never made the semis before. They're capable of scoring a lot of goals. Their highest score so far in this competition has been 79 in round 11. And it's the largest margin and highest score we've ever seen in Premier League across the 3 years. Both of the teams, actually their largest winning margin is 37 goals. Central Coast round 11 and the ERNA Hawks in round 13 against the Sparks. All right, we're going to take a break here and we'll be back for the third quarter where the Hawks are up over the Heart by 5 goals. back out on court for the third quarter. The difference is 5. We've seen some changes to Central Coast. They've pushed Laura Moore back to goalkeeper. Laura Rogers come out into goal defence, and Demi Evans has come on for her first run tonight in centre. Pushing Buckley to wing attack. So plenty of changes for Central Coast, and it was needed. As we see Marshall find Miller at the back, far too easy. Meanwhile, the Hawks, they remain unchanged from the second quarter. Whoa, long ball, it goes through the hands of Buckley. Sails over the back line, and now Jess Grant will take the throw in. McLaren back to the skipper. Oh, quick work, Marshall. And I don't know where that was to. Even Nick Stiles is having a little chuckle. Laura Moore taking a while to find where the throw-in's coming from. Roger comes back to Moore. Evans up and over to Walsh. Now Buckley will find the centre. And in the pocket, Wild will choose to swing. Buckley with a fake. She finds Taylor in between the two defenders. And the ball just trickles in off the edge. Central Coast with a team effort to win the ball back. Roger comes back to Walsh. They go around the players to Buckley. Now coming through the middle. Evans. Wild. Buckley on the edge. Lots of ball movement. Oh, Wild's at the back. She's also moved to goal attack. So 5 changes all up for Central Coast. And it's probably a pretty wise move to put the skipper on in the shooting bib. The Hart hoping she can set up a bit more ball for Taylor. Wild on the back line to Buckley. Oh, who doesn't waste any time. There's close to 100 people sitting on the side of this court. And generally up on court 2, court 3, court 1, you're lucky to get about 30 people to a game. And 2 teams playing up for the crowd tonight as Ali Miller keeps it in play, and Tay Davies, a smart player. Austin waiting at the back. 3 goals in it. Here come the Hart. Marshall wins the ball and the crowd's behind her. Austin comes back. Stiles right to the circle edge of Marshall. Tay Davies goes 1, 2, 3 with the shooters. And Miller, confident, little clap. Stiles assisting with the centre pass. Marshall goes over the head to Austin. And they find Miller. Austin's a long way out. The ball pops off the top of the rim and over the back. Certainly the intensity has dropped a little bit as we see Central Coast trying hard to drive for the ball here. Buckley draws a defender, and now Wild to Taylor at the back. It's working better for Central Coast. Evans straight to Taylor. And as soon as they have that set up, with Taylor just in behind the keeper. Oh, and here comes Miss Maria Falau. Can she change the game and the momentum? They find Ali Miller at the back. It was a pretty funny sight watching a whole heap of players go the long way to the toilets before their game started tonight, just to get a little glimpse at Maria Falau. Evans to Wild, split stance in the air and through the hoop. Folau coming out for the centre pass. Oh, she opts to go straight to Miller, but Moore, too smart, hands in front. Now Evans in the midcourt. Goes to Roger, then finds Wild. Buckley to Taylor and Wild combining. So the timing of the pass is everything for Central Coast at the moment. They're that fraction quicker than the Hawks to the ball. As we see it there with Evans and McLaren. And now Taylor at the back. Takes them back level, 35 apiece, the Hawks in the heart. In case you missed the start of this match, this is the minor premiership decider. Whoever wins this match tonight will take out first place. Folau swings the circle, she finds Marshall. Now finds back space. And dare I say it, but would you believe Maria Folau playing Premier League netball sinks her first goal. Oh, collision. Walsh has first possession according to the umpire. Evans to Wild, who will know how to set up Taylor every day of the week. Such an experienced combination at the back. We're locked at 36. Tay Davies collecting the ball. A little bit of contact behind. She's a player with 128 international caps for the Silver Ferns. Hunting for a Sydney club in 2019. And impressing out here for the Hawks tonight. Buckley comes back to Roger. The ball goes over the top of Buckley's head and into McLaren's hands. And the Hawks keen to add another to their tally. Use Ali Miller. Oh, she's missed the shot. Swift's training partner Laura Moore straight on the rebound. Oh, they're stuck for an option. The ball deflects off Marshall. Wild has to come back to Buckley, and over the top again. They find Taylor in the air. 37. Level again. And there's a breaking call. Central Coast picking up. Replay. The turnovers are quick here. Marshall to Folau. She's inside. And there's no way she's going to miss with that much experience. Wild cross court to Walsh. Evans pushing into the goal third. Waits for the defenders to come forward. Wild waiting at the back. Oh, McLaren. She's all hands. Davies just surveying the options. Marshall comes back to Davies. Folau going to the pocket. And Miller, with a nice split stance, finds a really good position under the post. So you might be wondering how this all came about. How is Folau playing for the Hawks in Netball New South Wales Premier League competition? Well, apparently Jen Wright is a Kiwi, the coach of the Hawks, and her PE teacher was a coach at the Northern Mystics in New Zealand. Maria needed somewhere to train over in Sydney, and so they've had her up their sleeve for a little while now, keeping it a secret. And tonight's the first time they've been able to use her on court. On the edge now, Buckley finds Wild at the back. And the Heart are giving everything. 5 minutes 24 before the final break of the match. It's just 2 goals different. Folau no mucking around. And swish, she's through. Buckley with a great cut and drive backward. She has to come into the midcourt for Walsh. Roger, straight through the middle to Buckley. Wild coming forward, edge of the circle. They go easy into Wild. Oh, and the ball around the player. Some clever passing. Taylor thrown off by, oh my God. 1 foot on the court, off balance, just missed a shot. Taylor collects and puts another through for Central Coast. She is a special player. Folau, quick work, goes to Davies and finds a better position for herself before offloading. Miller taking the Hawks to 42. Wild through traffic, 1-footed, gives the ball to Evans. Walsh on the transverse, comes to Buckley. Building to push into the circle through Taylor. Central Coast drawing a foul just inside. And the pass comes over the top, off the post. And unfortunately the Hawks couldn't pick up the ball and turn it into something. Taylor to Buckley, one hand collected pass. Oh, Jess Grant on the intercept. Here come the Hawks. Inside channel, they push up towards the goal post. And Miller surviving some contact. A very physical game, this one. 43-39, 4 goals difference. The Hawks have a centre up their sleeve. Pocket. Marshall to Miller. And the lead starts to creep out again. 5 goals. Buckley tries to reset. Have to go laterally. Now in the goal third, Evans goes to Wild. Buckley draws a penalty at the top of the circle. Little drop pass into Wild. And she's confident to take it to the post. Missed. It's with Styles. Marshall, rocket pass from the shoulder. How did Ali Miller keep that in play? Her balance and footwork is phenomenal. Oh, and Falau's missed a shot. Evans goes cross court to Wild. Buckley starting to panic, looking for an option. Goes the fake, then comes to Wild in the pocket. Oh, and Taylor, both hands. Takes them back within 4. There's 1 minute 38 seconds on the clock before the final break of this round 14 minor premiership clash. The crowd is starting to build on the side of the court and behind us now too, as under-20s teams warm up. Everyone keen to get a look at Maria Folau. Evans, strong pass to Buckley. Walsh coming through. They do quick work on the edge of the circle. And then Wild finding backspace with a drive behind. Has 48 seconds to take the shot. She doesn't need it. Four goals difference. The Hawks with 37 seconds to play with. Miller comes back to Marshall. Falau's on her own and calling for it, but she's not inside. And Moore able to read the play. Can't keep it in possession. Oh, wow, that was special. .7 seconds on the clock, 5 goals difference. The Heart eager to take that back to, oh, there we go. So with 15 minutes left to play for this minor premiership, there is 5 goals in it. And plenty of heart and grit yet to play out here on Court 3 at the Genea Netball Centre. One goal difference at quarter time, 5 goals at half time, and 5 goals heading into this final break. Central Coast remain unchanged, as do the ERNA Hawks. Falau in the pocket, just pops it up to Miller. It's quick scoring for the Hawks. Evans with the fake before she gives it to Buckley. Wild straight to Taylor. Plenty of rocket passes out of her tonight. And one of the players that Central Coast were keen to shut down in the ERNA Hawks side was Kira Austin. But I bet you they didn't anticipate a New Zealand international replacing her out on court at some stage. Meanwhile, the Hawks, their focus for this match and attack was to make sure that they were really definite with their movement and clear. and in defence trying to keep a strong one-on-one presence and keeping everyone accountable. So I think we've seen some of that tonight. The first quarter was very panicky. As we see Buckley pick up the ball. Evans looking to feed, but no one's inside the circle. She goes 1-2 with Taylor and can't finish the job. Oh, here we go. There's a penalty. Stiles is disappointed. And there are 3 under-20s teams, GWS, Sparks, and the Panthers all watching this game unfold. Ali Miller on fire. Most of her shots barely touching the edge of the net and the rim tonight. Taylor's come out strong for this attacking play. Buckley comes back to her. So pushing up to the front and then finding space at the back. McLaren to Folau. Draws the penalty. Heads into the shooting circle. Miller goes to Marshall. Then they find Folau, the long arms. Oh, she's a long way out, but she puts the shot up. And Miller backs her up with a rebound and a finished effort. 50-44, the difference 6. Walsh over ahead to Wild. They go round Davies to Buckley. Evans. Here comes Central Coast. The quick ball movement coming into play. And they're going to need more of that if they're going to claw back this deficit of 5 goals. Hawks force back for the centre pass. No look pass for Lau to Davies. Marshall to Miller, who uses her elbow to get some space and is pulled up by the umpire. Straight through the middle. Evans to Roger. Walsh all alone. Buckley waiting for an option. Taylor coming forward. It's a bit of a scramble in the shooting circle. And Central Coast are lucky they get another opportunity with the throw-in. Buckley tries to get it to Taylor. It comes off Grant and over the back line. Here we go again, Central Coast trying to push into their shooter under the post. They've done it over the top. Persistence is key. Buckley stuck behind for the centre pass. Wild's come out. And now she goes 1-2 on the edge. 3-4. Swinging the circle. Steady on the baseline with a penalty. The intensity we saw at the start of this match has really died down. And there's some great netball being played, but it's a lot slower than the game we saw right at the start of this match. Four goals remains the difference with 10 on the clock. McLaren to Marshall. Quick work to Davies. She goes 1-2 for Lau, but finds Miller on the baseline. And the clapping's become very one-sided here on the side of the court. Central Coast almost need a lift, and they've got it through Roger. Can she inspire her team to come back? They're not far off it, but they're going to need a lot more energy. Wild, hands up in the air, wants it. Buckley to Taylor. Not confident to take the shot from a further way out. And Wild. Can't convert. Styles over ahead to the midcourt. Foot race between Roger and Davies. Can you hear the little sigh from the sideline here? Everybody loves watching his superstar play. She's so smooth. And we're going 1-for-1. But the energy has certainly dropped. Moore looking to inspire her troops. Over the head, Walsh goes to Wild and then offers her help in return. Buckley gives it to Evans, who's going to take a penalty just inside the goal third. Wild now at the top of the circle, goes to the pocket. And there's another call for a penalty, allowing Taylor to find a little edge behind. That was an ERNA Hawks centre. A big moment for Central Coast here. A push in the back, Marshall to Buckley. Gives Central Coast a little penalty. Can they go 2 for 2? Call goes against Taylor. She's not happy about it. Grant to Styles. She goes back to the skipper. McLaren. Stuck really for an option. She goes all the way to Falau in the goal third. And they just cut out the mess in the middle. Able to score so quickly, this Hawks side. Tay Davies has hit the deck. Tough cookie. Marshall to Falau to Miller. This is all working like clockwork now. Call against Central Coast, and their captain can't hide her frustration. Marshall finds Falau in the midcourt in a channel. She goes cross-court over the top of Walsh to Davies. But they've seen a turnover. Central Coast lacking energy here. They really need some inspiration. Wild to Buckley. Oh, and here we go again. Persistence really paying off for the Heart. But with 6 minutes on the clock and 5 goals difference, they're really going to have to bring something special out here. Falau forced to go back to the pocket. And Miller with the long arms is able to grab the ball despite being sandwiched between 2 Heart players. Jess Grant called for a penalty outside, allowing the Central Coast shooters some free space under the post. And there's been a call. Emily Bills comes on to replace Ali Miller. Ebony Bernard on to replace Tay Davies. Jen Wright injecting some fresh legs to the Hawks attack. Bills swinging, finds Marshall. She heads into Falau. Central Coast have definitely dropped their head. Six goals difference. And the pass from Evans to Roger is no good. Goes over a third. In the pocket, Marshall times her jump beautifully. Falau, baseline shot. Misses. She was confident that was going to head in. And Moore will take a penalty for Central Coast. right at the back. Step-in call. So the team that's led the competition for the majority of 2018, they've set the standard, scored 79 goals in their best game, and now they're unable to finish off those efforts when it comes to the minor premiership. They just don't seem to be able to lift in these last 3.5 minutes of play. 8 the difference. Of course, these teams being 1 and 2. Another step-in call goes against Central Coast. They'll play each other again next week in the major semi-final at 7 p.m. down on the show court. That'll be on Bar TV. And hopefully the Heart will be able to review the footage of tonight, work out what went wrong, and just build up the combinations and a better game plan for the next one. The lead creeps out to 10 goals. Evans in the middle. Comes to Wild. Oh, they go long. They go straight to Taylor at the back. 1 foot off the ground. She sinks it. Falau, beautiful work. Bill's at the back. Misses the shot. Backs up with a rebound. Finishes the job. The difference remains 10 with 2 minutes 15. Buckley with the fake. Comes to Evans and they complete the triangle. Through the hands of Taylor. Although it appears as if it's come off a Hawks player because it's a Heart throw-in. Wild takes the Heart to 53. Cut and drive for Lau for the centre pass. Oh, quick work. Bernard on the edge of the circle finds Bills. And with a little trip around the rim, she finds the net. 1 minute 30 left in this minor premiership clash. The Hawks should be mighty proud of what they've been able to pull off tonight. Especially when Central Coast clawed their way back into it. Bernard in the middle. Comes to Marshall. They find Bills, who's popped out. Falau an option straight in front. And she goes over the top of Rogers' hands and through the net. 56 seconds in this minor premiership clash. Central Coast would like to finish the match with a goal. Wild really struggling, swings to Evans. Oh, and they find Taylor at the back. It's been some of their beautiful plays, their go-to plays that they haven't been able to pull off so well tonight. Step-in call and Marshall knows it. Although it appears it's gone against the Hawks in the circle. Either way, Taylor has got it up their end for the Central Coast. And they go 2 for 2 and a little flourish. Central Coast with another centre pass. Evans keen to hurry up and take it. Wild over the top of her head. Can they go 3 from 3? They can indeed. So that'll be all she wrote for this round 14 clash. The Hawks up over the Heart, 64-57. They're the minor premiers in 2018. They finished top of the ladder. Central Coast in second. And it'll be very interesting how these two rock up for next week in the major semi-final down on the show court. We're going to wrap this match up in front of the camera with a Hawks player. Don't go anywhere. Okay, here with captain of the ERNA Hawks Open side, Jess Grant. You must be pretty happy with yourselves. The minor premiership all wrapped up.
That's it. I mean, it's a good feeling, and the last couple of games, we've really put some really good performances out there. To finish on the top is great. That's one job done, and it's not going to be, I'm not going to be looking back on this and thinking, oh, good, if we don't go all the way. So first job down, now to the exciting part. Finals next week. We get to face Central Coast again, and it was a really good game today, and I'm sure it'll be a really tough one next week.
3 out of your last 4 games, you've made 70-plus goals. What do you put finding so much this form at the back of the season down to?
Working hard. Working hard throughout the entire season. It doesn't happen easily, but really I feel like in the back half of the season we've really started to let the ball go, and it's really showing in our attacking work. We've got a heap of players that we can put on the court, and as long as we're connected and working hard for each other, then we can produce some pretty beautiful netball.
Now we've got to talk about Maria Folau, the little sneaky up your sleeve. I think you've put Netball Central into a bit of a frenzy tonight. You had Opens players creeping up the back way to go to the toilet to get a glimpse at her. Were you proud of how she played tonight?
Well, I mean, she's a handy super sub. Unfortunately, we won't have her next week, but, when you get a player like her, come and train with us, which she has been while she was, before she went back over to the Mystics, and she actually really wanted to play tonight, and that was kind of really cool. And the netty nerd in me is super excited, and I'm going to be devastated if I miss out on getting my photo op. So we better wrap it up quickly. But I mean, if she just shoots beautifully and she moves beautifully, and she has been a really good team player when she's come into our environment, and we've been lucky to have her. And the younger girls too, what an opportunity.
Thanks for chatting with us, Jess. Congrats on the minor premiership. We'll see you next week.
We will. Thank you.
I know, me too. What was that? Oh, yeah. Oh, she's registered. No way, people. Yeah, that's all right. Have an amazing time then. I get to go to freezing cold water. I do like cold steak for a long time. Yeah, I love Melbourne too. Yeah. It is. It's just awesome food and amazing. Oh, you're right. Yeah, cool. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, do that. In the middle of Netball. You never know. Bye, ladies. Yeah.